He just loses it.
Yeah.
All on his own.
Oh, Kyle Larson with problems.
I got no brakes.
No brakes is the call.
Yeah, I heard no brakes, and you heard Cliff Daniels get right on the radio to bring it to us. So it sounds like the 5 will be coming to pit road. He was running 24th.
But 24th from quite a distant qualifying effort of 26th, which is highly unusual.
You know that feeling when everything that can go wrong does go wrong? Well, Kyle Larson just lived through every NASCAR driver's absolute worst nightmare at Watkins Glen. What happened to the 2021 Cup Series champion wasn't just bad luck. It was a complete disaster that might have just ended his shot at this year's regular season championship. Imagine being Kyle Larson behind the wheel of your #1 car. 5 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet on a formidable NASCAR road course. Despite a 26th place qualifying run, you've conquered Watkins Glen twice previously. Confident in your ability to advance. As the green flag waves, you're poised to make your ascent through the ranks. But then, just 6 laps into the race, barely enough time to get your tires warmed up, everything goes horribly wrong. Larson was running mid-pack when he approached turn 1, that scary 90-degree corner that's caught out plenty of drivers over the years. Suddenly his car started spinning, and the words that came over his radio told the whole story. "I got no brakes." Think about that for a second. You're flying down a racetrack at over 100 miles per hour, and your brakes just stop working. That's not just scary, that's terrifying. Larson somehow managed to keep his car under control and avoid a major crash, but his day was basically over before it even started. His crew chief, Cliff Daniels, immediately called him down pit road. When Larson limped his car into the pits, the team quickly figured out what went wrong. It wasn't just a simple brake problem, it was a complete brake line failure. Daniels got on the radio and told his team they needed to change the entire brake line. Now, changing a brake line during a race isn't like changing tires. This is major surgery on a race car. Larson had to go behind the wall, which in NASCAR terms means your day is pretty much done. While other drivers were racing for stage points and track position, Larson was sitting in the garage watching his championship hopes slip away. Daniels was clearly frustrated when he talked to NASCAR.com after the race. He said, "Incredibly unfortunate because I really wish that it would have shown up yesterday or at any point sooner than 5 laps into the start of the race." When the team looked at the car, they found brake fluid pouring out of the lines. That's not something you can patch up quickly. The team worked frantically to replace the brake line, bleed the brakes, and get Larson back on track. But in NASCAR, every lap you're behind the wall cost you big time. By the time Larson returned to the race at lap 22, he was already 16 laps down. In a sport where races are often decided by seconds, being 16 laps behind is like being in a different time zone. But here's where the story gets even worse for Larson. This wasn't just about one bad race. Going into Watkins Glen, Larson was sitting pretty in the championship hunt. He was only 45 points behind his teammate, William Byron, for the regular season championship. With just 2 races left in the regular season, that gap was totally manageable. Larson knew how important this race was. During his media session on Saturday, he talked about needing a strong run at Watkins Glen to chase down Byron and Chase Elliott, who was sitting second in points. He had a real shot at winning his second regular season title. But after finishing 39th at Watkins Glen, Larson's championship dreams took a massive hit. He didn't just stay 45 points behind Byron, he fell to 85 points back. That's a 40-point swing in the wrong direction, and with only 2 races left, it's basically game over for the regular season championship. What makes this even more painful is that this isn't the first time Larson has had bad luck this season. Ever since he failed to complete the double back in May, that's when he tried to run both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day. His season has been up and down. In the last 5 races before Watkins Glen, Larson had finished 28th or worse 3 times. For a driver of his caliber, that's just not normal. The really frustrating part for Larson and his team is that they know they have speed. Daniels mentioned that they've shown up with fast cars in recent weeks, but they just can't put together complete races. It's like having a Ferrari that breaks down every time you try to drive it. All that potential, but nothing to show for it. Even after going behind the wall, Larson's team tried to make the best of a terrible situation. When he came back out, he was so far behind that he could push his car to the limit without worrying about track position. He ended up setting the fastest lap of the race with a time of 73.203 seconds, earning himself an extra point for the Xfinity Fastest Lap Award. This was actually Larson's third road course Xfinity Fastest Lap of the 2025 season. He'd previously won the award at Circuit of the Americas and the Mexico race, plus one at Bristol. But as Daniels pointed out, the luster of it has gone away a little bit for us because we've had to do that twice now at road courses. Daniels tried to stay positive about the whole situation. He talked about using the opportunity to build their notebook and practice pit strategy, but you could tell he was frustrated. When asked about the team's recent struggles, he was honest. There's not a whole lot to be said about right now, other than we're just not getting the results. But Daniels also showed the kind of fighting spirit that made him one of NASCAR's top crew chiefs. He said, "Never bet against yourself and just being realistic about where we are. The fact that we have shown up with speed the last handful of weeks. I'm really hopeful that people count us out." That's the kind of attitude you want from your crew chief when everything's going wrong. Daniels knows they have fast cars, and he's betting that sooner or later, their luck will turn around. The timing of this disaster couldn't be worse for Larson. NASCAR is heading to Richmond Raceway next, and that's actually good news for him. He's won there twice before. But with the regular season championship basically out of reach, the pressure is now on making sure he's ready for the playoffs. What happened to Larson at Watkins Glen also highlights a bigger problem that NASCAR fans have been talking about. While Larson was dealing with brake failures and mechanical gremlins, fans were comparing the Cup Series race to the Xfinity Series race from the day before. And guess what? A lot of fans thought the Xfinity race was way more exciting. Social media was buzzing with comments like, "Xfinity is what will grow this sport in its current state. I look forward to Saturday more than Sunday now." Some fans even said they'd rather watch the Xfinity Series because the racing is better. That's not great news for NASCAR's Premier Series. The problem is that the current Cup Series car package makes it hard for drivers to race each other closely. The cars lose so much downforce when they get near each other that passing becomes really difficult. Denny Hamlin has talked about this before, saying that in Xfinity, drivers can manipulate the car in front and actually affect the race. In Cup Series, you just lose all your downforce and fall back. Austin Hill, who races in both series, said the Xfinity cars are so much fun to drive because you can slip and slide around.
I've wanted all those places, so let's go do it again, right? Watkins Glen's probably my favorite road course we go to. Richmond is statistically one of my best racetracks that we go to. And then Daytona's been one of our best racetracks since I've been at RCR with Team Chevrolet. So, feel really good about our opportunities in the next 3 weeks.
Kyle Busch has just 3 races left to make it into the 2025 NASCAR playoffs. He hasn't won in 2 years, and his chance to race for the championship is almost gone. Every race now counts. Can he pull off a win and make it into the playoffs, or will this be the year he misses out? Kyle Busch is a famous NASCAR driver known for his strong racing and many wins, but now he's facing one of the hardest parts of his career. The 2025 season has been tough for him, even though he has won a lot in the past. Right now, it's not clear if he'll make it into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. With only 3 races left in the season, he doesn't have much time to turn things around. As it stands, Kyle Busch is 19th in the standings, far outside the coveted top 16 spots that will advance to the playoffs. His current position is a far cry from the dominance he's known for in NASCAR. With just 3 races remaining, Busch's only hope for playoff qualification lies in a win. But with the competition heating up and his recent struggles, securing that victory is far from guaranteed. Busch's story is one of highs and lows. The 2024 season was a tough blow for the 9-year-old driver, marking the first time in his career that he failed to win a race. After a season of ups and downs, he ended up outside the playoffs for the first time since the modern playoff format began. But despite his struggles, Busch has always been a fighter, and the question now is whether he can rally in 2025. This season has been no different, with Busch still seeking his first victory of the year. While his team's performance has been solid, consistent finishes have proven elusive. Busch's only path to the playoffs now appears to be a dramatic late-season victory. With so little time remaining, he knows that every lap, every pit stop, and every decision on the track counts more than ever before. The first opportunity for Busch to make a mark will come at Richmond Raceway, a track where he has historically performed well. With 6 wins and an average finish of 7.0 at Richmond, Busch has the experience and track record to succeed there. However, Busch has also acknowledged that past performances alone won't guarantee a win this time. The competition is fierce, and every race is a battle for survival. In an interview, Busch spoke candidly about his outlook for the remainder of the season. "I'm not going to lie, time is running out, and I know that," Busch said. "But I also know what we're capable of. Richmond is a track where we've had success, and if we execute well, we'll have a shot." Busch's comments reflect a sense of urgency that has come to define his mindset this year. With just a few races left to secure a win and a playoff spot, every decision will matter. There's little margin for error, and Busch is keenly aware of that. The pressure to perform at his best is intense, but it's nothing new for a driver who has dealt with high stakes throughout his career. The upcoming race at Richmond will not only be crucial for Busch's playoff chances, but also for his legacy. He's been in this situation before, and his career has been marked by comebacks and perseverance. But will his experience be enough to overcome the challenges of a season that has been far from smooth sailing? Richmond is just one of the tracks where Busch hopes to make a statement. The following race at Daytona is another opportunity for him to prove himself. Known for its unpredictability, Daytona often produces thrilling finishes and upsets. For Busch, the race represents a chance to turn the tide on his playoff chances. Daytona has been one of our best racetracks since I have been at RCR with Team Chevrolet. I feel really good about our opportunities in the next 3 weeks. However, while Daytona presents an opportunity, it also brings risks. The unpredictability of the track means that Busch will need to be strategic, especially with his playoff hopes hanging in the balance. The stakes could not be higher, and Busch knows that a mistake now could seal his fate. "You have to stay focused, stay calm, and take the opportunities when they come," he added. After Daytona, there's one more race before the playoffs, and it will be at Watkins Glen. A track that has presented both challenges and victories for Busch, Watkins Glen could be the site of his final push. With his playoff hopes on the line, Busch will need to finish strong. "Watkins Glen is a tricky track, but we've had success there in the past," he said. "It's all about making sure we stay in the fight and not giving up." The remaining races of the season are critical for Busch. Each one presents a new challenge, but each also provides an opportunity to secure a win and punch his ticket to the playoffs. With the clock ticking down, Busch is focused on doing whatever it takes to make the playoffs. "We can't afford to leave anything on the table," he said. "We have to go for it." While Busch's situation may seem dire, it's worth noting that he has been here before. Busch's career is defined by his ability to persevere through adversity. He's one of the most successful drivers in NASCAR history, with over 60 Cup Series wins and multiple championships. His experience and talent make him a formidable competitor, and it's no surprise that many are still betting on his ability to pull off a dramatic late-season run. The pressure on Kyle Busch is huge. He's been at the top of NASCAR for years, but now, with his playoff hopes on the line, he might miss out. No one expected this at the start of the season, but it's something he has to face. "I've been around long enough to know that anything can happen," he said, "but it's up to us to make it happen." Busch's chances of making the playoffs depend on how he performs in the next few races. The challenges are big, but his determination is strong. "We know what we need to do," Busch said. "Now it's about going out there and getting it done." As the final races approach, Busch's playoff hopes will be decided by how well he handles the pressure. He's been in tough situations before, but this feels different. The stakes are higher than ever, and there's less room for mistakes. His legacy as one of NASCAR's greats is at risk, and he knows this season could change the course of his career. Fans and analysts are watching closely as the playoffs get closer. Every race now matters for Busch's chances of making it to the postseason. In the coming weeks, we'll see if Busch can find the drive that made him a champion. "We're not giving up," Busch said. "We're going to fight until the end." As the NASCAR Cup Series moves toward its final races, Busch's fate is in his hands. The chance to make the playoffs is still there, but it will take everything he has to make it happen. With time running out, Busch will need to rely on his experience, skill, and drive to secure his place in the playoffs and prove he still has what it takes to compete with the best. The final stretch of the 2025 season is here. For Kyle Busch, these next races will decide his playoff hopes and his legacy. Will he make the playoffs? Or will this be the year his streak ends? Only time will tell. Will Kyle Busch make the playoffs? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. Drop a comment below and let us know if you think he'll make it. Don't forget to like the video if you're cheering for him.
Mexico was very, very challenging logistically. Very, very tough on our race teams to prepare the cars a week, 10 days in advance. Like, just a tremendous task. And not only the task.
On the 4th of August, 2025, Denny Hamlin talked about some big problems in NASCAR. He said things that got a lot of people's attention. Just 2 days after the Iowa race, he used his own show to speak up. He didn't just talk about one problem, he talked about many. What he said made people stop and listen. On the Actions Detrimental podcast, Denny Hamlin addressed problems stemming from tire performance during the Iowa Speedway Cup Series race. Hamlin described a yo-yo effect at short tracks like Martinsville, where passing became nearly impossible. "It's the yo-yo effect you see at Martinsville. No one can pass," he said. He added, "You can't pass the 30th place car. That is the problem we're talking about, and that is what we have to fix." He attributed the issue to tire compounds. He noted that the tire showed very little fall-off over 50 laps, leaving leaders able to hold position on half throttle. He said, "That means the tire is so hard that it just takes a dramatic amount of downforce to push that tire into the racetrack and get it to grip. Nobody but the first few cars have enough air to do that." The result at Iowa was a predictable win. William Byron, leading much of Stage 3, claimed the checkered flag. Few passing opportunities made strategy hinge on restarts and fuel rather than competing pace. Hamlin called the race outcome ho-ye-hum, in effect. In the same podcast, Hamlin turned his focus to NASCAR's Mexico City weekend. He expressed relief after learning NASCAR would not return there in 2025. He described the trip as logistically demanding, with teams loading cars a week to 10 days early. "We are wiping our forehead," he said. Mexico was very, very challenging. Logistically, very, very tough on our race teams to prepare the cars.
Mexico was very, very challenging. Logistically, very, very tough on our race teams to prepare the cars a week, 10 days in advance. Like, just a tremendous task. And not only the task of that.
He also spoke of illness spreading through the garage. He estimated 5 to 6 crew members and drivers suffered severe sickness. Lots. I mean, I know of 5 to 6 that were in really, really bad shape.
Lots. I mean, I know of 5 to 6 that were in really, really bad shape.
Hamlin attributed the cancellation to financial factors. He said outright, "Decisions are always made by money in this instance. It's always money." He suggested ticket sales or returns fell short of expectations for Mexico City. He placed expectations in Chicagoland, replacing Mexico City on the 2026 schedule. He said of Chicagoland Speedway, "Good, I think that'll put on a good race. It's a wide mile and a half. Typically, that's been the one type of racing that's been pretty good." Denny Hamlin also addressed the ongoing lawsuit involving his co-owned team, 23XI Racing and Front Row Motorsports. A federal appeals panel recently denied their request to continue racing as chartered teams. Hamlin asserted the decision was a minor part of the larger litigation set for the 1st of December. "That's just such a small part of the entire litigation. I'm not deterred at all. We're in good shape," he said. He acknowledged that losing charter status would force teams to race as open entries, with significant financial risk and the need to qualify on speed each week. He added that the cost to operate uncertified cars could run into tens of millions. Despite that, he affirmed, "We're committed to run this season open if we have to. We're going to race and fulfill all of our commitments no matter what. We're here to race." Hamlin addressed concerns about losing drivers such as Tyler Reddick. The charter agreement has a clause that could allow Reddick to become a free agent. Hamlin responded, "I'm not focused on that particularly right this second." He emphasized that their legal process remains ongoing. He repeatedly emphasized confidence in the upcoming trial. "All will be exposed," he said, referring to December's case. He stressed that judges acknowledged their legal position had merit. "We feel like facts are on our side," he said. Hamlin's statements revealed several layers: performance concerns at short tracks, safety and operational challenges abroad, the impact of charter rulings, and broader financial exposure. Each topic underscores pressure on NASCAR's structure and management decisions. He criticized the Iowa tire for offering zero drop-off over extended runs. He compared lap times to a flat-ass level format. He demanded changes in aerodynamic setups, specifically more overbody downforce and less reliance on underbody aerodynamics. He said, "Fix the attitude of the car. It'll make them better in traffic. More overbody, less underbody." Those words echoed in post-race coverage. Analysts highlighted his call for the sport to revisit tire strategy and car design, arguing it affects overtaking and race quality at short tracks. Hamlin placed the Mexico City decision in context as both financial and human cost. Teams faced travel issues when planes were delayed and one aborted takeoff due to engine failure. He described environmental adaptation problem, including water and food, contributing to illness. That incident ended his streak of 406 consecutive Cup Series starts dating back to 2014. He missed the Mexico City race following the birth of his son. Ryan Truex filled in for Hamlin and finished 23rd. NASCAR granted a waiver, preventing loss of playoff eligibility. Observers noted the combination of midweek legal battles, scheduling shifts, and race day performance concerns placed Hamlin at the center of the current NASCAR debate. His dual role as driver and owner sharpens that focus. In the courtroom, 2311 and Front Row argue that without charter recognition, they cannot secure guaranteed entry or base payouts. Losing charters would subject them to starting lineup uncertainties, potential revenue loss, and increased operating costs. Hamlin warned that these outcomes could cause insolvency if unaddressed. Yet Hamlin reaffirmed that team operations inside the shop have not faltered. He said, "Nothing changes from inside the shop," and declared unwavering commitment to compete open if required. He acknowledged that some affected drivers remain uncertain about their future. He declined to comment on Reddick's situation. Hamlin described the legal process as the definitive path to clarity, with a trial date firmly set. Hamlin's critique of tire performance at Iowa highlighted a broader debate on race quality. Analysts across outlets agreed that poor passing conditions reduce competition. His comments sparked renewed dialogue on tire testing and regulations. The Mexico City discussion underscored hidden costs in international expansion, delay, sickness, break from routine, all weighing into the decision. Hamlin's transparency gave insight into the complexity of adding global venues to NASCAR's schedule.